Before we dive in, I've got something for you. If you're studying for the ARE, you don't need to figure it out alone. Inside my free resource hub, you'll find study guides, resource guides, pop quizzes, and other tools designed to make exam prep a whole lot easier. Head to dci.beyoungdesign.com/resources or check the link in the show notes to grab it now. It's completely free. All right, enjoy the show. Hey, it's Bryn. So, what you're about to listen to is actually a quick audio recap generated from one of our live Mind Over ARE coaching calls. These are meant to give you a little bite-sized takeaway and some motivation to help you pass your next architecture exam. All right, let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all the noise and give you the essential knowledge you need. Today, we're really focusing on something crucial if you're on the path to becoming a licensed architect.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really happy to give you this glimpse into how these coaching sessions actually work. These coaching highlights, they're really designed to, demystify some of these complex topics and importantly, build your confidence as you head into the exam. So today, we're going to tackle a pretty classic ARE practice question. But it's more than just getting the right answer. We want to explore the strategy, the approach that helps you unravel that complexity, not just on the page, but in your own head too. What's fascinating here is, well, how often a question that seems straightforward can actually teach us a lot, not just about the topic, but about managing your own test-taking mindset.
Absolutely. That mindset piece is huge. So let's jump right into this first practical bit from one of those coaching calls. It's an ARE 5.0 practice question focused on setback calculations. This is fundamental stuff, right? You'll definitely see it. So I want you listening right now, try to work through this with us. Imagine you're right there in the live session. Okay, here's the scenario. You've got a project site. There's a 20-foot setback required from the front property line. The total lot depth is 100 feet. Now, the building program, what you actually need to build, requires a 70-foot building depth. So the question is, what's the maximum rear yard setback you can have while still fitting in that 70-foot building?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the foundational one. It tests, your basic grasp of site analysis, how zoning rules affect the program. In the Mind Over ARE calls, Shika really emphasizes breaking these down, just step by step. So let's walk through it logically, like he does. You start with the total lot depth, right? 100 feet. First thing is that constraint, the front setback. It's 20 feet. So you take that away from the 100 feet immediately. That leaves you with 80 feet. That's your usable depth. That's the space you have for the building and whatever's left at the back. Okay. Then the program says the building itself needs to be 70 feet deep. So you take that 80 feet of usable space, subtract the 70 feet for the building, and what's left? Exactly 10 feet. So 10 feet is your maximum allowed rear yard setback. It's really just a couple of subtractions. But you have to pay close attention to each number, each constraint they give you.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense when you lay it out like that. It seems simple. But I can see how under pressure, maybe you mix up usable depth or forget a number. Why do you think NCIRB includes questions like this? It feels, I don't know, almost too simple sometimes. Is there a catch?
That's a really good question. And it gets right to the heart of what NCIRB is trying to assess. If we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
They're not really trying to trick you with super complex math here.
Yeah.
They want to make sure you fundamentally understand how site constraints like setbacks directly impact how much space you actually have to build on.
Right.
Which then impacts your design, obviously. Just think about it in the real world, right? If you mess up a setback calculation.
Oh, yeah.
That could mean costly redesigns, big delays, maybe even needing a variance, which is a whole process in itself.
Right, a huge headache.
Exactly. So this question might seem basic, but it tests if you could translate that zoning rule into an actual dimension on the site. And that's critical, right at the start of conceptual design. Feasibility studies, too. It's really about showing you're competent with those core calculations. They're often the very first step. These little numbers, they represent really important spatial things on a site, footprint, light, access, all that, understanding the why behind them. That's what takes your prep to the next level.
That makes total sense. It's about those core skills and knowing why they matter in practice. Okay, but here's where, for me, it got really interesting because during that live coaching call, after walking through the solution, Shika brought up this whole psychological side of taking the exam. She actually paused and asked the group something like, okay, does anyone feel like this question was maybe too easy, or did anyone get the right answer but then start second-guessing yourself? And that moment, wow, it really drove home that passing these exams isn't just about knowing stuff, it's about how you handle yourself under pressure. pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Sheikah's insight there is so valuable because it hits on something super common, a cognitive bias, really.
Hmm.
A lot of test takers, especially ones who've studied really hard, they run into problems that feel almost suspiciously straightforward.
Yeah.
And that can trigger this self-doubt, right? This feeling like it seems simple, there must be a trick I'm missing because you're kind of braced for difficulty. She actually shared a personal story from one of her own ARE attempts. I think it's her PDD retake. She said, taking it for the second or maybe third time, some questions just felt, her words, remarkably easy. She knew them. She thought, okay, yeah, it's this answer, I know this. But then that little voice popped up. Wait, why was this so hard before? Now it feels easy. Am I missing something? Was I just slow? That kind of internal chatter, that doubt, it's incredibly common.
Wow, yeah. So your own brain starts working against you, almost inventing complexity because you expect it. How does she push past that feeling?
Well, that's the key part. She realized that, despite that little voice, she'd actually studied hard. She'd put in the work. She knew the material. She'd done the practice. Her brain did know the answer. So she said she reread the question carefully, just one more time, took a breath, held her nerve, and then consciously applied what she'd been learning through the Mind Over ARE program specifically, trusting her informed intuition. Not just a random guess, but that gut feeling backed by knowledge.
Informed intuition. I like that.
Right. And it worked out. She passed that exam. That confidence in her immediate answer, even when it felt too easy, was a big part of it.
And that really is the core message from Shifa that hit home for me. If you know for a fact what the answer is, and you've read it carefully, you need to trust your gut on it. And she tied it right back to the effort you put in, saying something like, look, you've studied hard. This is all you've been doing lately. Of course, you know what's going on. Trust yourself a bit. It's such a powerful validation of your prep work, a reminder that all that effort builds a real foundation, and you should let that guide you. And that lines up perfectly with the whole Mind Over ARE philosophy. It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about building and then trusting that intuition that comes from solid preparation.
Exactly. It's not just a vague feeling. It's your brain recognizing patterns you've already learned. And, expanding on that, Sheikah's advice to hold your nerve together, to keep your wits about you, that's incredibly practical for exam day. It speaks to that mental toughness you need. Because critical thinking, it isn't just about solving hard problems. It's also about being self-aware, managing that anxiety that can really mess with your judgment. Think about it. How often do simple questions become hard because we overthink them? We assume there's a hidden layer when maybe there just isn't. It could even be related to that Dunning-Kruger thing, where sometimes really competent people doubt themselves on easier tasks. Which raises a good question for you to think about. How often do we sabotage our own knowledge by overthinking simple things? Not just on exams, but maybe in our work too. Like when an experienced designer has a quick, elegant solution, should they always doubt it just because it came easily?
That's a really profound point. It definitely goes beyond just the ARE. So this coaching highlight really gives you, the listener, two key takeaways as you prepare. First, there's the practical side, mastering those essential setback roles, understanding the how and the why for real projects. And second, maybe just as important, is that psychological strategy, learning to trust your informed intuition during the exam, validating your hard work, not letting doubt derail you. So what does all this mean for you as you're getting ready for the ARE and maybe even for your career after that?
Well, it means that real preparation isn't just about cramming facts and formulas. It's also about building the confidence to apply what you know. And critically, knowing when you've actually got the right answer and trusting that. It's about knowing the answer's yes, but also knowing when to trust your knowledge. That builds professional judgment, which is invaluable. So maybe a final thought for you to mull over is this. Beyond the ARE, how can you intentionally practice cultivating that informed gut feeling, that confidence in your professional calls? How do you learn to tell the difference between real intuition from experience and just guessing, and really lead into the intuition?
Great question. And look, this whole insightful discussion, the practical breakdowns, the focus on knowledge and mindset, it's just one small example of the kind of rich content and supportive community you get in the Mind Over ARE coaching calls. These are live sessions, they're interactive, you can ask your questions, get immediate feedback, really sharpen your skills and your strategy. Inside ABC Club Premium, you get full access to all the live coaching calls. You get accountability partners, plus the entire searchable library of all the coaching highlights replays. This really is just one example of the powerful guidance waiting for you inside ABC Club Premium. Join Premium today. Get full access to the live calls, the replays, all our coaching highlights. We invite you to learn more. Just check the link below, or you can join us directly at dci.beyonddesign.com/ABC Club. Thanks so much for diving deep with us today. We really appreciate you tuning in.
Thanks for listening today. Hey, remember, you've got free resources waiting for you at dci.beyonddesign.com/resources. And when you're ready for deeper support and to come hang out with us, join us inside the ABC Club and ABC Club Premium, where you are going to get the help you need to pass your exam and actually enjoy the process. So don't let another week go by without moving forward. Take action. You got this. Check the links in the show notes and join us inside the club.